welcome here to a very special Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Hall of Fame room. We are here on site, on location in Scranton, Pennsylvania for a very special Pacer Pride. You know that Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media are your exclusive multimedia marketing partner of Marywood University and your Pacers, which means that we have the opportunity to bring you very special stories from student athletes, administration, and coaches all throughout the year. Today we have a trio of guests, and the first one that we have on is Executive Director of Athletics, Mr. Pat Murphy. Pat, how are you?
Good, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and happy to be here with you, Pat. And you know, the thing that I enjoy about our time together is that we always talk about everything. You know, we talk about a little bit of life, a little bit of sports outside of Marywood, kind of big picture and whatnot, what's going on in the world, and then of course come back to Marywood University. Being an executive director of athletics, there's a lot of things that you have to pay attention to now, and I know that, you know, at the Division III level, name, image, and likeness and transfer portal may not be affecting as much, but they're still prevalent in our society now. What can you say to what it's like to be a leader in today's college world?
Well, obviously, it's ever changing. You know, the days of just concentrating on hiring good coaches and winning games is kind of, I don't want to say it's fallen by the wayside because it's still very important for what we do. But yeah, like the NIL and the transfer portal, you know, it has put another dynamic into collegiate athletics. And I guess time will tell whether it's good or bad. You know, I have my own personal feelings on it, and you know, we'll just wait and see what happens with it all. You know, I mean, you know, I'm kind of, maybe I guess I'm too old school, but you know, a staff goes out and recruits a student athlete and spends a lot of resources recruiting them, and you know, now this student athlete can stay a year and jump around. I mean, you know, I'd like to think that student athletes pick their school because they have a relationship with the coach or staff or the teammates, and they have the academic program they want. But you know, some of these things are challenging, that thought process.
Yeah, you know, and for you, I mean, to be in this world of collegiate athletics, what gets you up in the morning? What makes you want to, you know, lead an athletic department? Because it's not a simple task. There's a lot of student athletes, hundreds of student athletes that are under you as far as looking for your guidance and whatnot. You have coaches of multiple sports here at Marywood University. So when it comes to your job on the day-to-day, there's never going to be a dull moment. There's always a lot of people involved. So what gets you up in the morning to do it?
Well, number one, it's kind of the only thing I've ever really been involved with ever since I graduated from college. I've been in the collegiate athletic administration realm. But that being said, I absolutely love my job. I love working with the coaches day to day. I love problem solving. You know, and obviously it trickles down to the student athletes. And without the student athletes, none of us would have jobs. So I don't directly have that much interaction with the student athletes, but I'm kind of, you know, the student athletes, when they have issues or problems, go to the coach, and then if the coach can't solve it, then it gets to my level. And but at the end of the day, we're serving the student athletes of Marywood University, and as you know, Dan, Marywood's a wonderful institution, and you know, the people here are great. So to make a long story short, what gets me up in the morning, what gets me motivated is I love the people here at Marywood University.
Yeah, you know, and I think, you know, it's incredible to see. I mean, I sat in this room and spoke with Rob Purowski, the new VP here on campus, and for everything that he does with enrollment, management, and student services, and obviously President Sister Mary Persico, and getting to speak with them on their vision in the grand scheme of things, and then get to speak with you and as well as the coaches and whatnot. It's kind of a ripe moment for Marywood University to grow and expand and evolve. And I find it, I said it to you, but since I've said it to you, the conversation has continued to grow and expand and evolve itself when it comes to something like esports. So, a newer addition here that now I'm talking to schools and schools that are maybe a D1 program and that don't have it, or a D2 saying, what are the benefits of it? And I was like, you don't understand. You go to Marywood University, that esports headquarters is a D1 headquarters. And so, there's things that have been utilized here, tested here, grown here since I've been at Marywood and probably beforehand that eventually end up in other places, but Marywood can be at the forefront of some of these things. And I'd love to, get your thoughts on that, because I know we've talked about some things before, but Marywood isn't afraid to try something, to put something out there, and you don't have to do it when you try it. And I think that should be really spoken about.
Yeah. Well, we can go back and talk about the esport thing a little bit. I remember when I interviewed for this position here, it was August of 2019, and I believe, and I'm sitting in the room with the president and her cabinet, probably 6 or 7 people on her cabinet, and the question came up from the president, Pat, what do you know about esports? And I said, well, I don't really know that much about esports. I said, I think I know where to go to find the answer.
Yeah.
And I said, the one thing I do know is that it's not going away. So do we want to be the last people to the dance, or do we want to be one of the first people to the dance?
Yeah.
So literally a couple months after that, I get the charge that we're starting an esport program, and we need a facility. It needs to be up and running in about a year. So that's where we were at with that. But that being said, we have great people in IT here to outfit the room. Our construction, or our maintenance people, the architects, et cetera, et cetera. So, a daunting task turned out to be not so daunting when you have a lot of talented people that are involved in it. And I will say, to your point, I do think we have one of the nicest esports arena, around.
I mean, it's hands down the best that I've seen. I mean, when it comes to D1, D2, D3, JUCO level and whatnot, there's a lot to be said about what it looks like here. And honestly, I think if somebody doesn't have esports and they want to model it, then Marywood University is a fantastic example of it. I mean, I told, and I truly meant this, when I said it to Jacob Adler, the director of esports at Marywood University, I said to Jacob, I was like, I genuinely would love to make this my studio. When I'm here and I'm on campus, there's nothing like it.
Well, I think part of the vision, and it's a shared vision with the president, the board, myself, is we kind of wanted to make that room a focal point on campus, so that when we bring, potential students and their parents on a tour of the campus, that's one of the stops we make, because I think it shows people the commitment that Marywood University does have towards their facilities and all that. Listen, I've been in esports arenas. I traveled around to see what other people are doing, and some have elaborate places like we do. Other places just have a room with a few computers in there, and they call it an esport room. But we wanted to do it the right way, and I think we did do it the right way, and it's worked out wonderful for us, and we're playing in the national tournament in year 1. So
and it's been so incredible to just get to learn about it and get to be there, and it's great for digital media. And I mean, when I was here at Marywood, and ironically in this building, digital media and broadcasting and athletics, I bonded the two with MU Courtside. Esports bonds the two as well, because you need producers, you need a director there in Jacob Adler, you need to make it look good, you have to work with streaming, you have to audio, video, everything about it is a production. And I think that's another piece to it here, is once again athletics reaching out to the greater student body saying, if you want experience in this world of production, of audio, of video, of directing, of really getting a feel for how to utilize streams and social media and different things to integrate together and get all this technology to talk, it's a great opportunity to go out to a student who's not an athlete and say, hey, if you want to be a part of something really incredible, on the production side of it. You're going to get a lot of experience at Marywood University, and you're going to get it from day one.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's also important for us to have academic majors that when we go out and try to recruit a potential student athlete that's coming here uniquely to be an esport athlete, that we have a major that kind of ties into the whole esport realm a little bit to make our sales pitch a little easier than it normally would be.
Coming here from Executive Director of Athletics Pat Murphy, on site on location at Marywood University. You know, every Friday is Pacer Pride time, right around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, to take us into the weekend exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And this time around, we get to have a Marywood Monday takeover, and we will be joined in hour number 2 by John Butash, the Marywood softball head coach on a very, very successful season, and another successful season, a historic season for Marywood baseball, and Jason Thiel will be joining us as well. Pat, to continue the conversation here of the greater student body, before we get into the success of all the spring sports, something that's been talked about a lot, and at any level, anyway, and I don't even like to call it levels, at any division in the NCAA, as well as, JUCO, USCAA, and whatnot, we have to have the conversation about mental health and wellness, right? And caring about our students, our student athletes, our coaches, I think in the world that I grew up in, and probably in the world you grew up in as well, we were told if we were having a tough day, figure it out. Yeah. If something was bothering you mentally, if you were stressed out, there were times on this campus where I went through a breakup. I'm trying to get this job. I have 3 projects due. I don't feel good. I woke up and I'm under the weather. And you got to keep going. You got to go to the station. You got to set up the show. You got to get the production ready. You got to do all this stuff. And I was always taught, figure it out. Figure it out. Stop complaining. Don't be a wuss. Figure it out. In today's world, kids are maybe less and less being asked to figure it out alone, and they're given the opportunity to have help. How important is mental health in today's world, and how do you think you can address that with student athletes and coaches?
Well, I think it's extremely paramount, Dan. Listen, when we were growing up, we all had, issues at times or whatever. It just seems like today, though, there's more outside influences put upon a student athlete that makes navigating those waters so much difficult than it's ever been before. Like, when you, the internet, for one, social media, can you imagine, listen, when you were a kid and bullying took place when you were a kid, it usually happened on the playground or on the school bus. Now with a click of a button, someone can bully and influence thousands. Yeah. And it's not the healthiest of environments for young people. Now that being said, you hit on a good point that we do have several ways to help student athletes or any student that has any sort of issues, but we're not mind readers either. In other words, someone has to come to us and say, I need help, or I have a problem and I don't know how to get through this problem. We don't have a crystal ball. Now, can we pick up on clues and pick up on little things? Yeah, we can. But usually it's the coaches who would need to pick up on that. Or, believe it or not, probably the people that know more about what's going on in this athletic department day in and day out are the trainers. Yeah. Because trainers are kind of like bartenders, all the kids are in the training room at some point during the day, and they feel free to tell the trainers what's happening. So, yeah. When someone sees something or hears of something that's an issue, we want them to bring it forward so that we can step in and get the student the help that they may need. Yeah,
and I think it's incredibly important in today's world to do that. And our student athletes, we do want you to know, student athletes, coaches, administration. Listen, from Sister Mary Persco to Pat Murphy to somebody coming in as a freshman, we all have days, and we all need help. We all need assistance. Where do you find your help? What's kind of like your sanctuary when you need to hit the reset button, so to speak?
What's my sanctuary? That's a great question. You know, I actually like the work. I immerse myself in the work, and okay. So if I had to total reset, I'm a big. I think I've said to you before. I love hanging out on my boat, and just sometimes I won't even leave the dock. I'll just sit there with a cup of coffee and read the paper or the internet or whatever, and just. I don't know what it is about the water, but it's kind of a calming influence on myself. And or ready for this? Working out.
Yeah.
Now, if you think about this, is my mindset is like I love to get on an elliptical machine or whatever, and it's really the only time for half an hour out every day that you can sit in your own thought process while you're working out, because no one's bothering you, no one's in your ear, the telephone's not ringing, people aren't knocking on your door. Do you got a second?
Yeah.
You're by yourself, and you can really escape into your own thoughts and try to address things that way. So that probably is it for me.
And I remember what you were going to say.
Well, I was going to say too, though. You also through the years you create contacts that you could call upon if you need an answer. We'll call it a helpline or whatever.
Yeah. We all have lifelines.
Lifelines,
right?
yeah.
Perfect, lifelines. Perfect. And, I think I remember for me being on a boat, and my family didn't have one. We go on a friend's boat or something like that. There was always something about it. There was something calming about just like being on the boat. Like I could be on the boat, eat a piece of candy, play with a toy growing up or something like that. It was enough for me. It didn't have to be didn't have to have a bells and whistles boat. It could be any old boat. But I've always been a kid of the water, and my mom jokes that I must have been born, I was essentially born in Atlantis, because I will swim. If I'm in Florida and you got me on a 90-degree day, I will swim in the pool for all day long. I'll swim for 3 hours straight. I don't have to get out. I don't have to cool down, whatever. And I like to challenge myself in my underwater breathing ability and swimming, where I will pick a far point of the pool and see if I can get there from one end to the other end to see how far I could get and how much I could test myself. I've realized I can breathe better underwater than I can hold my breath like this. I can actually do better underwater than just holding.
How do you breathe underwater?
Just to hold your breath, I can actually keep my breath underwater better than I can keep it out of water.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
So I can hold it.
Interesting little tidbit.
Yeah, I could stay under for a while, and used to freak out my mom because I'd go under and then she wouldn't see me or hear me, and I was totally fine, but I would just kind of come back up when I wanted to. But yeah, I'm a kid of, I don't know. I guess if I was a DC character, I'd have to play Aquaman. I guess is where I'm looking in this world, or Namor, the Submariner from Marvel, who hasn't been decided yet. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. I've always loved the water, and you can't really keep me away from it, so I can respect the boat. I can definitely respect that.
Yeah, like I said, sometimes I don't even need to go out. I just sit at the dock and just
hang out at the dock.
Just hang out at the dock, and with gas prices the way they are, I think I'll be doing a little bit more of that this year than ever.
I think you just need to hang out at the dock. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Now, spring season here at Marywood University, a lot of sports in action, a lot of great things going on. We see the world of golf, you see track and field, you see cross country, tennis, you see different things that are coming in and out here, and of course lacrosse and whatnot. There, and softball and baseball, there's been so much to write home about when it comes to Marywood University, and I want to start with the champions. I want to start with Dana Cicciotti and what she did as the head coach of this women's tennis team, and not only as the head coach, but she's been through a lot, gone through adversity, gone through loss in her family over these last couple months, and found a way to be a coach, found a way to be a leader, found a way to work through, everything that's when we talk about mental health and wellness herself, with having to go through a loss in the middle of a season to become the Atlantic East champions, the Atlantic East Conference champions. It just happened over this past weekend. What can you say about women's tennis and their amazing, amazing season, which Dana says, and humble as she is, she said, listen, talk to the girls. It's not about me. It's about what they've done. She's very proud of them, and I think we all should be.
Yeah, she should be proud of them. And I tip my hat. She gave that answer, but a lot needs to fall on Dana. She recruited these students here.
Yeah.
She coached these students here. She's their mother to these students here. But she's had a great run this year. Not only did she win the conference tournament, she won the regular season as well. I'm proud of all of our coaches. We've had quite the spring, success all the way around in all of our sports. It goes back to, and I say this to people almost till I'm blue in the face, so that my job is so easy when you have good people, and we really have not good but great people in our coaches and our administrators and our leadership here at Marywood University. Dana being one of them.
Yeah, so we see the tennis world and the success there. To look at the lacrosse side of things, they both, obviously were in the AEC playoffs in the Atlantic East here and wrapped up their seasons recently. On the men's side of things, I believe a record-setting year, and for John Knowles, and we know that recruiting-wise and what she does for her team, Carrie Brown's done a terrific job. What do you take away from Marywood men's and women's lacrosse, knowing that these teams have fought to the bitter end, and I know definitely in the case of women's lacrosse over this past weekend, I think it was a 2-goal separation, was it?
Yeah. Carrie on the women's lacrosse side had a challenging year for her. Usually she's very good. This year was a little bit more of a challenge for her, but the future looks really good. I think she's bringing in, 12, 14, freshman student athletes. And I asked her, can they play? And she said, yeah, they can play. On the men's lacrosse side, I don't know if it's an overall record. I'd have to check with our sports information crew, but I believe it's the most wins our head coach has ever had here. And keep in mind, lacrosse in the Atlantic East Conference is a very competitive sport. We have Cabrini in our league who's won the national championship before. So I couldn't be prouder of our lacrosse programs. The future looks really, really good for those two programs.
And then we look at what we're going to be having coming up here in hour number 2 of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on a Marywood Monday, on-site, on location for a Pacer Pride unlike any other. We get to have Jason Thiel, who's joined me before a bunch of times. We've had Jason here, the Marywood baseball head coach, only the 3rd head coach ever. Crazy to think that, but there was longevity, and it's funny how the original head coach, his assistant becomes the head coach, and then Jason, who played for them, ends up becoming the head coach. So we've kept it all in the family here. And then Marywood softball, I got to tell the story of John Butash and his connection to the world of softball and what he's done, and being able to coach one of his daughters, and just to see that success, and to now be in a place where they are right now, which I believe came into the postseason as the number 1 overall seed. So it's been great on baseball as well as softball side.
Yeah, so let me start with baseball. We're knocking on the door of the most wins in program history. We're right there. Whether we get it, I don't know. Obviously it's got to play itself out on the field, but we're right there. Softball, again, regular season champ. We're now in the finals. I guess we're playing Cabrini. We had a bad injury over the weekend. Our leading hitter got hurt, so that's going to be tough. But he says he has good depth, so we'll see what happens. He's another one that suffered a personal loss in the passing of his mother during the course of the softball season. So, yeah, it's been quite the spring. It really has.
Yeah, it's and for you, are there any other notes that you'd like to make when we look at all these spring sports that we haven't discussed yet, because there has been so much success?
Yeah, I think men's tennis is moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Who am I missing here? We talked about the lacrosse, baseball, softball. Oh, track and field.
Yeah.
Perennially, we're the best track and field program in our conference.
That's all. Rob Aarons, you're going to have to, now, I know I'm putting you on the spot for this, but you're going to have to get him a bigger office because he's running out of space to put the championship banners up.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like
I told him I get to take some of those because eventually I said, as you got to put the new ones up, you got to have somewhere to put the old ones. I said, I think my studio is a good place.
There's not a weekend that goes by that they're not setting 3 to 4.
Yeah. Always
school
on their
records,
Instagram.
School records.
New school record, then the next week another school record, then the next week, then they
Yeah.
beat this girl beats her record. I'm like, my goodness.
Yeah, what a wonderful program he has built here. Cross country too, cross country and track and field.
Yeah, cross country comes out of it as a champion. Really, when we look at what is the last 4 seasons, the only season where Marywood was not the cross country champion was 2020 when there was no season.
Yeah.
So the only time that you could stop Rob Aarons is when you couldn't play. But when you are, they're doing well.
Well, you know, it's amazing that he has built Marywood into a national program at this stage. And we don't even have a track, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, thank God we have a great relationship with Dunmore High School, and we use their track. But what Rob has done here for his programs is basically, I don't want to say miraculous, but miraculous, yeah.
When you look at a program like, cross country and track and field, men's and women's side, because Rob has all of it that he's the coach of, is there a thought facility-wise to put a track here someday?
Yeah, there is that thought, and it's been bantered about. Right now, the issue is where to put it. Where does it make sense? We're landlocked to a degree here by the neighborhood. The obvious choice would be to put it down where our turf field is, but that's not that easy because of the space needed. We'd have to, take out that hill. I mean, it's just not an ideal situation. So the issue is really where can we put that track?
Yeah, and I think about, Marywood has expanded and grown since I came in 2003, and I just 4 years that I was here from 2003 to 2007 as a student, there was growth. The building we're in right now was built while I was here, and so when I look at Marywood, I'm seeing this consistent expansion. I love driving by. I love seeing the Pacer and knowing that that's my home because there's just so much pride. And I always try to be very safe while driving, but when I always try to turn my neck really quick. I turn and look because and so many people know it. Whenever I talk about Marywood, and it used to be this, and I know we don't have this anymore because now the Pacers up there, but it used to be the Marywood M, and then people would always say the electric sign because it had the temperature and the time. So people would always say to me, "Oh, you go to that school with the electric sign on 81. You're the electric sign." And it's funny because it's the electric city. But, do you feel, in keeping with that notion and that motif, do you believe that Marywood is becoming more and more recognizable, that the logo is being picked up, and that the Pacer is becoming a more integrated part of Northeast PA and maybe beyond that? Can you get a sense of that?
Yeah, yes, I think in this community here, Marywood is extremely well respected, mostly on the academic front. It's a very good academic school.
Yeah. I can attest to that.
You can attest in the region. And I've also heard a lot of people, I grew up in upstate New York, the Rochester area. People say, yeah, Marywood University. I passed the sign on 81.
Always.
And it's prevalent, and what great real estate there to have a sign. Yeah. The amount of people that see that.
You don't need a billboard because the campus comes all the way over to 81.
But, as respected as we are in this area, that's one of the reasons we worked out the deal with you, Dan, is because I felt that with your platform, you can help us we have a great story to tell here, and you can help us tell that story to the masses, not just in this region, but to upstate New York, to all the people that you come in contact with, utilizing social media to the best that we can utilize it so that we can increase our recruiting footprint.
Yeah, and the thing is, and I want to thank you all that are watching and listening, because it's you guys. We have reached all throughout the state of New York. We've reached up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, out of the country. We have people in Spain, we've had people in Russia, we've had people in China, Mexico, Canada, Italy, England. So, I mean, it's insane to me, but it's also such a humbling thing to know that we have this opportunity to do that. And it brings me home, truly, in two places, because Marywood is home and Syracuse, New York, upstate New York is home, that I think I told you this. If I didn't, I'm telling you now. But when I was at Avicoli's doing a show a few weeks ago, I have our Liverpool Warriors high school sports show there. And another big connection between you and I and the ability to recruit is that I work so closely with high schools in the Northeast region. And the Liverpools, the CNSs, the CBAs, the Baldwinsvilles, the West Jennies, these are good lacrosse schools. These are good soccer schools. These are good, schools, and a lot basketball. There's other players who go out. There's really a ton of sports that I can speak to that Marywood would be enticed to recruit. And I'm doing a show at Avicoli's, and a young lady walks by, and I see a Marywood shirt on, and I looked at her and I go, "Who's the Marywood person?" And she goes, "Me." And I said, "Really?" And she was really quiet. And I said, "I went to Marywood too." And she changed completely. She's like, "Really?" And she just brightened up. She got really, smiling about it. I said, "When you going?" She's like, "I'm going soon." She's going to be a freshman here. And I'm ecstatic, to see that in my community and to see that bridging of that. And then to, have other colleges and universities and athletic people and whatnot saying, "Oh, I saw you were down in Marywood. I heard about their tennis team. Congratulations to them." Like, Lemoyne, in the connection I have with them, they saw that the women's team just won because their men's team just won. So there's that balance there, and also to reach out to the alumni. And it's great with giving back to Marywood, the Lawrence Tompkins, Deron Dickersons, Brandon Smith, Brendan Murphy, Ross Turetsky, Carl Turetsky, and the list goes on and on of people that I can reach out to and say, "Hey, this is what we're doing," and they didn't know this before, and now they get excited. So maybe they want to come back. Maybe they want to go to Alumni Weekend. Maybe they want to donate. And to go back, we haven't talked about this on the air, Marywood Giving Day. The goal was $75,000 as a school. The goal more than doubled. Multiple programs in the athletic side of things met and surpassed their goals. And it was a tremendous feat to see what they accomplished. Every year Giving Day gets better, and I always like to give. So I gave to different areas this year and wanted to do some things in campus ministry and athletics and whatnot. And to give back to Marywood is such a, to me, it's a beauty. My mom said, she goes, "You love giving back to Marywood," and I do, because it's home. And to see the athletic programs go out there, set goals, and in the middle of the day say, "Okay, well, we passed it already, let's set a new one." I would imagine you have to be happy with what we've done here in athletics, and that the school in general more than doubled their goal and raised over $150,000 in 24 hours.
Yeah, our coaches kind of take it on as a challenge amongst them. It's like a game to them of who can raise the most money. And
100%.
I would like to say this. First of all, thank you to everyone that did donate to Giving Day here. And I'd like to make everyone aware, the money that's raised doesn't go to pay for buses or the electric bill. The money that's raised is things that we use to try to make our programs excellent, things that we normally could not, get out of the budget. But it could be a foreign trip. It could be a piece of equipment that we would normally not be able to get. But it all comes back to helping the student athletes here. So, from that aspect, thank you, and your donation means a great deal to us, and we will utilize it to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, and it has been great, and we've gone, I think, hard to believe how time flies. We've gone 8 months in our partnership, I think, at the time that we've discussed this. What is it about the multimedia marketing partnership? I know you talked about it a little bit, but what have we done with this? What can we do with this? What are your thoughts? as the executive director of athletics, we've had Sister Mary Persico, we've had Rob Kurowski here. So we've had the leadership in general of the university. We've had you here in athletics. We've had coaches throughout, and we've had student athletes on here as well. So we've had the opportunity to talk about a lot of different things, as well as featuring alumni on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Brendan Murphy, Ross Turetsky, fantastic broadcasters who have not only been in this building, and Ross played for the baseball team, and Brendan, another baseball guy, and Brendan took over MU Courtside, my first baby, when he was here. So there's a lot that we've gotten to do with Marywood. Where do you see the partnership going, and what can you say about what we are trying to do out there for the people?
Well, I remember when you first approached me with this idea, we were talking about maybe a monthly show with myself or whatever, and I said, no, I'd rather the focus be on others within the department. Primarily our coaches and student athletes, because they're the ones that really deserve all the accolades, and the fact that, this could help them more than anyone, So, look, I think even prior to me taking this job at Marywood has always had a great story to tell. Mm-hmm. We just needed you and our partnership to supplement how we tell that story and getting that story out. So from that aspect, it's invaluable to us.
Well, I appreciate those very, very kind words. I wear this Pacer very proud. The moment that this logo changed, the moment that it was upgraded to what we see today, I jumped on it. I got in touch with Enrico. I was like, I want everything Marywood related. I want to have all the stuff. I went one of the game that I hosted here, the Whiteout.
Yep.
They had a little setup shop out here,
yep.
And my girlfriend Carrie and I were here, and she got some stuff for herself, and I was like, she got me a pair of sweatpants, and then I went and bought stuff. I bought a hat, and I was like, I want to give back. I want to support it. I love, and I am decked out Marywood everywhere. When Disney celebrated their 50-year anniversary in 2021, Magic Kingdom turned 50 years old, October 1st, 1971. I told you about this. I went to Disney, and they have, it's still going on. It's an 18-month celebration. But I went when the celebration started, right around the actual anniversary. I think I was there for the anniversary. I was there all the way up to the day of the anniversary and whatnot. So I went to Magic Kingdom, put the Marywood hat on stuff, wore the Marywood hat, put it on rides, put it in front of the castle. I was like, oh, people are going to know about Marywood because there's people from all over the country and the world here, and people will stop you and they'll ask you. And I actually had a kid that was working at Disney as a cast member stop me and pull me in, and he goes, hey, he saw the Marywood hat. He's like, I went to Gwen and Mercy. And I was like, oh, and I think you said, did you say I'm sorry? it was funny. The playful, banter between the schools. He was awesome. And, so he's like, I went to Gwen and Mercy. He's like, that's cool. You got a Marywood thing. And so to be in Disney and have people recognize, the teams and the conference and to recognize Marywood was really cool.
Yeah, it is. And we appreciate your efforts in doing that.
I'm going to do it again. I'm going down there in a week or so. And Expedition Everest is reopening, so I'll have my Marywood hat on because when they take those pictures, everybody that walks by sees all of our stuff, and so they'll see my hat on there. It's always like, please take your hat off when you ride the ride. I'm like, no, I'm gonna leave it on. So I keep it real tight. So I'll have it there for me and be rocking the gear. But kudos to all the work that you've done, Pat, and to the entire staff here to really make Marywood welcoming and exciting and fun. I wouldn't want to do this if I didn't feel home.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do this if I can't sell something I don't believe in, and I believe in it so much that every few weeks I'm driving back down here, and you said that it's I said to the people that I might live, 20 minutes away from Lemoyne, 2 hours away from Marywood, but when you watch what we do on the show, it's like they're both down the street, and that's what I wanted. I wanted the coaches, the student athletes, and you to know, Sister Mary to know, Rob and everybody here to know, when I say I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here. I'm going to put those miles on the car. I'm going to put that time in because I like being on campus.
And we like having you.
You know, I love being here. And we get to get some food in Scranton, Pennsylvania
There
today.
we
I'm
go.
excited about that.
Yeah.
So for Pat Murphy, Executive Director of Athletics, myself, Dan Tortora, this is a Marywood Takeover, a very special Pacer Pride from the Hall of Fame room, inside of the place where my career continued and really it began in the old gym, came over here to the Insulaco Arena and MU Courtside, the first show I ever did, my first kid, right here in this building, which has led us to where we are today with Wake Up Call. So talk about a full circle. Pat, as always, I appreciate you, and I
Thank
look
you.
forward to talking with you soon.
All right, Dan, thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be right